Hey Josh, how important is sincerity in matters of faith?
Well, sincerity is very important, but let's start by saying that sincerity is not enough in and of itself. It's possible to be sincere and be sincerely wrong. One great example of that is the Apostle Paul. He said in Acts 23, verse 1, it says, "And Paul, earnestly beholding the council, said, 'Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before God until this day.'" Now, this is Paul, who at this time is a Christian, but in times past had persecuted the church. He had imprisoned Christians. He was present at the stoning of Stephen. He was dead wrong for quite a while, but he did it in a good conscience. He was very sincere in what he did, but he was wrong.
Right, so it is possible to be sincere, but sincerely wrong.
Right.
So how important is sincerity in matters of faith? Well, sincerity alone is not enough. However, a point I want to really emphasize is that sincerity is very important. It is extremely important. And the reason why is because, well, God is sincere, God is pure, and he certainly expects his children to be as he is.
Amen.
And there's a passage that's found in 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 5, which reads as follows. Paul writes to Timothy, "The aim of our charge is love that issues," listen to this, "from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith." So put all that together. The aim of what it is we're striving to do is to have a pure heart, a good conscience, and a sincere faith. Do you have all of that? I pray that you do. Now, in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John, Jesus had several encounters with a group of individuals known as the Pharisees. And do you remember that Jesus was very critical of these individuals? And he was critical of them for a number of different reasons, but one of which is that they were hypocritical. They were hypocritical. In Matthew 15 and verse 8, Jesus said of them, quoting the prophet Isaiah, he said, "This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me." In fact, Jesus in Matthew 23 and verse 3 would essentially say, you do what they say, but you do not do what they do. The Pharisees in no way are examples for us to emulate in our spiritual lives. And so to sum it all up, sincerity is not everything, but it is a big thing. And for those of us who are in God's church, sincerity must be a virtue for which we strive to live our lives. And if it is the case that we have any inkling of hypocrisy in our lives whatsoever, we need to repent of that sin and then get back to a commitment of living in a life of purity, a life of holiness, and a life of sincerity. I just want to close with this exhortation that Peter gives to his readers in 1 Peter chapter 2 and verses 1 through 3. Peter writes, "So put away all malice and all deceit and hypocrisy and envy and all slander. Like newborn infants, long for the pure spiritual milk, that by it you may grow up into salvation, if indeed you have tasted that the Lord is good." Let's lay aside all that hypocrisy and let's just long for that pure spiritual milk. We serve a God who is pure. May we ourselves be pure. Of course, it's only by the redemptive sacrificial offering of Jesus Christ on the cross that any of us might have this purity, the purity of God in our lives. So, because of what Jesus has done for us, we have the opportunity to be genuine, to be real, to be just Christians. We're not perfect, but we serve a God who is, and may we strive to be sincere in our service to Him. Thank you for watching the video. We love you. Have a great rest of your week, and may God bless.